Morning, morning, morning. Hope everybody's had a really great weekend. I had a really busy weekend, only because the weather, sure. When I say busy, I mean there was things on the go. Sure. Morning, Hazel. And morning, Olivia. How was everybody's weekend?
Good morning.
Good morning. I was just saying I had such a busy weekend, but the weather was terrible.
Sure. Yeah, we had grey weather here too. Can you hear me? There, there we go.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, the weather is just changing so much. Sorry, I'm just putting my TV a bit softer. Did you catch Cyril's speech last night?
I did. Yeah, there was a lot of anticipation leading up to it.
I actually only discovered I think a couple of hours before the time that he was actually going to go live because everybody was talking about it. I completely missed the notification.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. I
True
think it
that.
all came about with the us being put on the red list. I think everyone suddenly had questions, what's going on? Yeah, a lot of uncertainty in the mix again.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Even after his speech, I think there's still a lot of uncertainty in terms of what's going to happen, especially now we're heading into December, we're
Yeah.
heading into the holiday period.
There's
There's a
talk of
couple
the
of
fourth
jokes.
wave.
There's a couple of jokes going around again that people need to lock up, the alcohol.
I think
That he's going to lock us down again.
alcohol sales did well on Saturday when people found out he was talking.
There was actually a queue outside Checkers, and I never put two and two together. I only realized yesterday morning that he was going to be talking the evening. But there was queues outside the Checkers liquor store in the mall on Saturday, but I never put two and two together until I realized afterwards, and I realized, okay,
And the
now it
shelves
makes
were
sense.
empty. Saturday, you couldn't find like the basics on the shelves. They were rationing out toilet paper again. You were only allowed to buy 3 toilet papers at our
Oh
Checkers.
my goodness. Oh, bless,
So I think
bless.
people went into panic.
As we do. And the thing is that we don't really know what's going to happen. Um, yeah, and I believe that he might be addressing this again in a week's time, but yeah, I don't have that notification yet.
No, right.
Yeah, but I
Business
mean,
and
what does that
currency
mean?
free.
Sorry?
What does that mean for business?
Well, that's what I was thinking because I thought, you know what, we go into our statuses every week, but what does that actually mean for businesses? And I think this is something that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks already. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, now we know bad things can happen and the economy can be shut down completely. And yeah, this virus is hectic. It can do that. And I don't think we thought that was possible before. And I think people may have bounced, come out of it okay last time. But if that happens to us again, are we in a state where we can bounce back as easily?
Yeah. And I think if I look at in the grains in particular, we spoke about it last week, when I looked at our strategies, I thought, sure, why would people want to use my services? And also, is it still relevant in terms of what is happening in the world and, well, in South Africa right now? And I couldn't say yes to any of them. And that was like a couple of red flags. Okay, Colleen, you really need to relook at everything. Hence where you came in, hence why we went digital, hence why we online, and we're rocking and rolling. And I think we took some great learnings from that in terms of how we can actually put something together that could help other businesses in future proofing themselves and, getting more agile and getting more ready for, what's coming or like trying to see what's
What
ahead
could
of the
come?
curve. Exactly.
we don't know what's going to come anymore. Life is no longer predictable. I think that's what COVID has taught us, is that we need to be prepared for whatever may arise. And, you
Yeah.
know, you were just mentioning now that, you know, we've been working on this. And I think, you know, it's not only your business, the operational side. Yeah, we need to get lean. We need to get agile. We need to like work on our operational processes to make sure we are future proof, to make sure you can survive yet another impact of a COVID. However, what impact does that have on your team? You know, the research we did, we saw that like it became more competitive. There was a lot of
Yeah.
backstabbing. The team started working in silos. And people were coming to work, but they weren't present. Their minds were stressed and somewhere else. And a colleague of ours, Candice, she's come up with a lovely term, or found a lovely term for that, and it's called presenteeism. So
Yeah.
it's not absenteeism, but they are not present at work. So there's all these different factors that people now need to start dealing with.
I think the challenge is as well with people is that you know they're showing up, but they're not showing up. They're
Yes,
showing up physically, but they're not showing up emotionally. So they're
mentally.
not engaged, yeah, mentally, yeah. So they're not engaged. And also, what we found was when the pandemic first hit last year, people went into complete panic, and that was businesses. And people, you know, there was people that was retrenched, and you know, what was working at the time for businesses, making the decisions that they thought they needed to, or that they actually had to at the time. But as a result, people had to pick up for other people. So not the correct, so certain skills were lost in the process. And other people had to pick up for other people because they were no longer around, but it wasn't necessarily the right skills and the right resources in the right places for to, you know, align to those strategies. And what happened as a result was that we started becoming less agile, couldn't make decisions quicker, and all of a sudden it was a survival mode. Everybody was in survival mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And I think that now that everything is settled, it's become like almost business as unusual,
Yes.
if you want to call it that.
That's the new
But
usual.
yeah, it's business as unusual. But now that everything has settled a little bit, I think people can breathe a little bit better. It's become almost like a little bit more of the norm. And now they're reevaluating choices from a year ago and going, sure, maybe I should have, I could have, what if, blah, 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 blah. And the fact is, you know what, we just have to push forward. We just have to move forward with
Yeah.
what we have, and try and correct and patch up where we can and get those foundations structured again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that we've worked on a beautiful, beautiful package, I think, that could help businesses in this time of uncertainty.
Yeah, and that's called
Yeah.
the Grit Blueprint, because the Grit Blueprint is what we've put together, and it helps put those foundations in place that Colleen was talking about. It works with the team to make sure they are a cohesive team, and then it works with the individual to help them deal with the stress. So if you don't have, well, once you've got those business foundations in place and you know you are agile and you know you are future focused, it'll be so much easier to move forward. And then once you get your team in place working together, even if it is a more lean team, and make sure you've got the right skill sets with the right resources, and they are upskilled enough to be able to do what they need to do, then you are really heading in the right direction. And then to top it all off, you work with that individual to help them deal with the stress, because the stress is not going to go away. That's a fact.
Hmm.
So we need to equip our team members and our staff to be able to deal with this stress that is guaranteed to come up, because people are dealing with COVID at home, losing lives, financial
Yeah.
difficulties. That is a reality. So the more you can equip your team and your individuals in the team to be able to deal with it and function properly in your team, the more successful you're going to be with those 3 tiers in place.
Absolutely. And I think what makes the Grit Blueprint so unique, or, you know, it's such a nice hybrid solution, is that it's not only factoring in the individual, it's not only factoring in the team dynamics, it's also looking at your business processes. Are your technologies correct in place? How do you pressure test your strategies to make sure that it is future focused, that it is agile, that it's going to work for you in the long term? We can't be thinking, just in front of our faces anymore. We have to almost be thinking now 5 years ago. I think we went through a stage where businesses had to almost become speedboats. We had to make decisions very quickly. I mean, this was the last, I think, 2 years. We all of a sudden went from being this big tanker, and now we had to be the speedboat, and we had to go, sure, we're there. And now it's all of a sudden we have to almost step back again and go, okay, sure, let's just stop for a little bit. While we're busy running, let's also look ahead. And it's almost like a little bit of both. We've got to almost be the big tanker, and we've also got to be the speedboat. So it's a very interesting time for businesses. And I think that that's what's nice about the Grid Blueprint, is that it's looking at all three of those dynamics, because all three has to work very well together to be able to get agile and to be able to be future focused. So yeah, exciting. So I'm going to leave all the links in the comment section. I'm going to leave it in the bios as well. So go and check it out. Get in touch with us. We are at connect@inthegray.co.za. I'll leave all the information. And yeah, hopefully we'll catch you all next week, Monday, for more coffee as we go live.
Fantastic. Cool. Thanks, Colleen. See you at Status.
Thanks, Olivia. I will see you at Status. Cheers.
Cheers.